बोलो,
गोविंद बोलो हरि गोपाल बोलो,
राधा रमन हरि गोविंद बोलो,
राधा रमन हरि गोविंद बोलो।
अगर जिसका अंग जले और दुनिया को मीत सुवास दे,
अगर जिसका अंग जले और दुनिया को मीठ सुवास दे,
दीपक सा उसका जीवन है जो दूजो जो अपना प्रकाश दे,
दूजो को अपना प्रकाश दे।
धर्म है जिसका भगवत गीता धर्म है जिसका भगवत गीता, सेवा ही वेद पुराण है।
वो सच्चा इंसान रे, उस धरती का भगवान रे।
नदियाँ न पिए कभी अपना जल, वृक्ष न खाए कभी अपने फल। गोविंद बोलो हरि गोपाल बोलो,
गोविंद बोलो हरि गोपाल बोलो,
राधा रमन हरि गोविंद बोलो,
राधा रमन हरि गोविंद बोलो।
चाहे कोई गुणगान करे, चाहे करे निंदा कोई,
चाहे कोई गुणगान करे, चाहे करे निंदा कोई।
फूलों से कोई सत्कार करे या कांटे चुभो जाए कोई,
कांटे चुभो जाए कोई।
मान और अपमान ही दोनों मान और अपमान ही दोनों जिसके लिए समान है।
वो सच्चा इंसान रे, इस धरती का भगवान रे।
नदियाँ न पिए कभी अपना जल, वृक्ष न खाए कभी अपने फल। गोविंद बोलो हरि गोपाल बोलो,
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 राधा रमन हरि गोविंद बोलो,
राधा रमन हरि गोविंद बोलो,
राधा रमन हरि गोविंद बोलो।
जय एक बार बोलो वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय। Jai Sri Ram, everyone. On behalf of my mother, of course, Srimati Basanti Maharaj, once again, it's our privilege to have you at our home as we have the second evening of Satsang dedicated to my late and dear father, Pandit Ramesh Kishore Maharaj. This evening, my kaka, my youngest one actually, Pandit Bhagwat, who will do katha for us this evening, my elder kaka, Pandit Devdutt Maharaj, Dr. Shivanand Maharaj, who is no stranger to us and a friend, a long-standing friend of my family. His father, he was just telling me, his father and my father, they went to school together. Shivanand is from Mahesh Road, the corner, and my parents, my father is from where Pandit Rohit and Pandit Devdutt lives on Lal Tu Trace. My two elder brothers, Gopal and Ganeshrat and their families, Dr. Bhushan Singh, my good friend and also a friend of my uncle Pandit Baldat, executive member of Mahasabha, Sri Pita Maharaji, who is here. Well, he lives here, both here and in the US, but he is here this evening. My wonderful neighbors, loved ones, my cousins and members of my family on both my mother's side, my mother's cousins and her sisters who are here, Daryl and my goddaughter Sushma. All of us experience our loss in a different way, and we as his children would have our own memories. My mother, of course, I think would carry the greatest burden of the loss, and his brothers, because they shared a wonderful relationship with him And Punditji mentioned one evening that whatever it took to make him happy, they did. Somewhere about 2012, I think it was, he had this earnest desire to go to India. So we got together and we said, okay, we will send him to India. He could not go through the US, so he has to go through England. He does not like to travel alone. My mother will tell you, and we would have shared with you that when he had to go to the nursing home, he told her that anytime I have to go to a hospital, you have to come with me. I don't know if he's expecting her to join him as well now, but so I got one of my friends who lives in England. I booked the hotel and I sent him off to England. I called her. I said, Shazara, I want you to look after my father. He's coming to England and he does not know his way around. It's his first time in England. So she went and she got him. She stayed with him. She called me. He didn't want her to leave. I said, no, she has to go home. She has a husband. He settled her in. And from there, she put him on a flight. And you all met in Delhi, Uncle Al? You met him in Heathrow? Yes. My uncle met him in Heathrow. From there, they flew. And he would do pilgrimage. He would go to all the places of pilgrimage. Well, my uncle has been to India no shorter, less than 21 times, I would think. That's an understatement. Yes, but he has been to India countless times. And so he will spend 6 weeks of his life in India. I think 6 weeks? 3.5 months. Yes, 3.5 months they would spend in India and in Nepal. In so much they traversed some mountainous terrain that was inaccessible, I think, to vehicles. Muktinath, when he took him to Muktinath, that's way up on the Himalayan peaks. And yes, in the subsequent year I would be taken by my uncle, of course, to those places and see. So he did quite a bit. Yes, the next year we would visit. Interestingly enough, he had quite a bit of fun on that trip. He visited Chardham. He went to Muktinath. I think the only thing he did not do is Amarnath. He went to Amarnath, right. He spent a little bit of time in Kashmir on Dal Lake. Yes, lots of time. In so much that when we visited the next year and I went with my uncle, there was an attendant there by the name of Ramzan who used to look after them. And when we came along, my uncle described me as Anarkali's son. You remember that? So I want to know who in God's name is Anarkali. Because my father's name is not Anarkali. Of course, there's a story behind that he may share. And lo and behold, Ramzan and him formed a beautiful relationship. Anarkali heard that somebody is there and thought was him. And I think she came looking for Ramzan, but it was me. So, nonetheless, Ramzan would praise him when we went on the tour of his voice and what he would sing. So this is the legacy of my father. As I mentioned, we all grieve in different ways. My uncles, they will do it in their own way. And I thought it was most fitting and if not perhaps the best tribute that they can give to their brother by sharing Ram Katha. This is what they did, all three of them. Actually, 2 days ago, someone sent me, she called me because I was not responding to her messages. She sent me an old flyer with the 4 of their names. Pandit Ramesh, Pandit Devdutt, Pandit Baldat, and one of my cousins by the name of Pandit Haridat Maharaj, who is here, their sister's son. From 1986, they had done a 9 nights yagna. 1986 and their names. She still preserved that flyer that she sent, and she thought that she should have shared it with us. So they have spent a lot of time together, and most of their lives were engaged in glorifying Sri Ram. So this evening, we have the good privilege and fortune of having my uncle Pandit Baldat, who lives out of West Palm Beach. My kaki is also here to do beautiful katha for us as a tribute to my father.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Namaha. Om Ado Devaki Deva Garbhajananam Gopi Grihe Vardhanam Maya Putana Jivatapaharanam Govardhano Dharanam Kansachedan Kauravadihananam Kunti Sutapalanam Etad Shrimat Bhagavat Purana Katitam Shri Krishna Lilayamritam Om Sasanka Chakram Shakarita Kundalam Shapita Vastram Sarasira Veshanam Sahada Vaksha Sthala Kaustubhastriyam Namami Vishnu Siddhisa Chaturbhujam Om Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudramarutah Stunumanti Davya Istrave Veda Sangapada Kramopanishadai Gayanti Yam Samaga Dhyana Vastitadagate Namanasa Pashyanti Yam Yogino Yashyang Tangna Vidu Suraya Suragana Devaya Tasmai Namaha Om Karacharan Kirtang Vaka Yajam Karmajam Va Sravananayajam Va Manasam Va Paradhama Vahita Vahitam Va Sarvameta Chvamasva Jai Jai Karunavadhe Shri Mahadeva Shambhu Om Panchasyam Akshutam Aneka Vichita Varnavakram Shashanka Varvitam Kapirajavaryam Pitambaradi Mukutairapi Shobhamanam Pingaksham Anjani Sutam Hyanisham Smarami Om Dhyana Moolam Guru Murti Puja Moolam Guru Padam Mantra Moolam Guru Vakyam Moksha Moolam Guru Kripa Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Namaha. सज्जनों, मेरे परिवारों, भाई और बहनों, नगरवासियों, मेहमानों और पड़ोसियों, आज इस प्रोग्राम प्राकृतिक होने से पहले मेरे शव्य परिवार की तरफ से मैं आप सभी लोग जो यहाँ पर हाजिर होता है एक बार फिर हार्दिक शुभ स्वागत करता हूँ और थोड़े देर के लिए निवेदन भी करता हूँ कि हम और मेरे शव की परिवार के साथ मिल कर के हमारा भैया आत्मा शांति करने के लिए गीता के माध्यम से हम सभी लोग वो माँ के बिहारी लाल कृष्णचंद्र महाराज के चरणों में नमन करो कि हे प्रभु, आप सारे जगत की उत्पत्ति करने वाले, सब संपत्ति आदि सब प्रकाश करते सुखी देता, कृपा करके हमारे सारे और गुणों और किलाशों को दूर कीजिए और हमारा भ्रष्ट बुद्धि जो है उसको सत्कर्म प्रीत कीजिए। हे कृपा सागर, आप मन और वाणी से नजात होने वाले अंत शक्ति मान आदि मध्य वहिनी निर्गुण सर्वगुणों के आत्मा, सब प्राणियों के अधिकारण, सृष्टिकार, भक्तों के कष्ट निवारण को करता, इस अवसर पर तुम्हारे चरणों में शत शत प्रणाम करता हूँ। हे कृपा सागर, इस जुदा के नदी के तट पर हम सभी लोग खड़ा होकर के इस गीता माध्यम के द्वारा तुम्हारे चरणों में प्रणाम करता हूँ। हे प्रभु, आप इस प्रार्थना को स्वीकार करो और हमारा मनोकामना जो है उसको भी परिपूर्ण कीजिए। बोलो श्री नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नमः। Dear devotees, on behalf of the members of my bereaved family members, I would like to take the opportunity as we commence this evening memorial service to extend to all that is here once more a very warm and cordial welcome and to invite you to join in with me in the company of my grandson and my respected extended family members, nephews, nieces, in-laws, friends, relatives, neighbors, and special guests who are here this evening to join in with us in the giving of salutation through the reciting of the 7th chapter of the Srimad Bhagwat Gita as a prayer offering onto the lotus feet of Bhagavan Sri Krishna in the interest and welfare of the soul of the late father, husband and grandfather and brother and brother-in-law of this home and family and whoever he was to us in his lifetime. as we sit in the company of each other as an extended Hindu family, Bhaiya, beneath the shade of this home of bereavement, let us stabilize our sinless mind. Let us enshrine in our heart of limpid devotion the most beautiful and esoteric form of that all-compassionate Lord Bhagwan Sri Krishna Ji, who takes not into account the fault of the devotee who were to give themselves through the avenues of prayer unto his lotus feet with a heart filled with unadulterated love and devotion. We ask of that Lord as we sit in the company of each other this evening to remedy all deficiencies, to rid of us that which is false, and to allow us the preparedness that may allow us to enjoy the fulfillment of the cause for which we have chosen to relinquish the comfort and security of our home and to face the risk of commute, to come from far and near to share with us your valuable time and presence in this memorial service. O Prabhu, you who is without beginning, without middle, without end, you who is all-encompassing, you who is omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient, we bow as we stand on the bank of the river of separation, bowing our heads in prayer through the reciting of and listening to the 7th chapter of the Bhagwat Gita, with the hope that it may contribute in a tangible way in the resurrecting of the soul of the late father, brother, grandfather, and great-grandfather of this home, family, and bloodline. My dear people, with this in mind, as we are about to commence, let us all silently chant in our own way, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Namaha, as we recite and listen to the 7th chapter of the Srimad Bhagwat Gita in its entirety, as we ask of Lord Krishna to accept this as a song offering on behalf of the soul, so that it may enjoy in a tangible way eternal bliss and freedom from all discomfort, if any, to be encountered in its onward journey. With this in mind, Bhaiya, we begin. Hari Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Namaha. Om Shantakarang Bhujakshayanam Padmanabham Suresham Vishwadharam Gagan Sadrasam Meghavarnam Shubhangam Lakshmikantam Kamalanayanam Yoga Virjanagamyam Bande Vishnu Bhavarnam Sarvaloke Kanatham. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Namaha. Shri Bhagavan Vacha. Om Maya Sakta Manaha Partha Yogam Yunjanmadasraya Asamshayam Sankramam Yatha Gyasyasi Tatsrinu. Om Jnanamate Hamsa Vijnanam Idam Vakshyam Sheshatah Yagyatva Neha Bhuyo Anyajgatavyam Vashishyate. Om Manushyanang Sahasreshu Kaschid Yatti Siddhai Yattamapi Siddhanam Kaschin Mamveti Tatvata. Om Bhumi Rapo Nalo Vayu Khammano Budhire Vachaha Ahankara Iti Yanme Bhinna Prakriti Rashtadaha. Om Apareya Mitaswanyam Prakritim Vidhi Me Param Jiva Bhutam Mahabaho Yaidam Dharyate Jagat. Om Etadyonini Bhutani Sarvanitya Upadharaya Aham Krishnasya Jagatah Prabhava Pralayasthatha. Om Mattah Partaram Nanyat Kinchiddasti Dhananjaya Mai Sarvamidam Protam Sutre Maniganaiva. Om Rasoham Apsu Kaunteya Prabhasmin Sasi Suryayo Pranavaha Sarva Vedeshu Shabdaha Khe Paurusham Nrishu. Om Punyo Gandha Pritavyam Cha Tejastasmin Vibhavasau Jivanam Sarva Bhuteshu Tapaschasmin Tapasvishu. Bijam Mam Sarva Bhutanam Vidhi Partha Sanatanam Buddhir Buddhir Matam Asmin Tejas Tejas Vinamaham. Om Balam Balvatam Chaham Kamaraga Vivarjitam Dharma Viruddho Bhuteshu Kamosmi Bharatarshabha. Om Ye Chaiva Satvika Bhava Rajasastam Saschaye Mat Eveti Tan Vidhi Natvaham Teshu Te Mai. Om Tribhir Gun Mayair Bhavai Rebhi Sarvamidam Jagat Mohitam Nabhijanati Mamebhya Param Avyayam. Om Daivi Hayesha Gunmai Mama Maya Duratyaya Mame Vaye Prapadhyante Maya Metam Tarantite. Om Namam Dushkritino Mudaha Prapadyante Naradhamaha Mayaya Pahahita Jnana Asuram Bhavamasritaha. चतुर्विधा भजन्ते मम जनाः सुकृतिनो अर्जुन आर्थो जिज्ञासुरार्थार्थी ज्ञानी च भरतर्षभ ओम तेषां ज्ञानी नित्ययुक्त एक भक्तिर्विशिष्यते प्रियो हि ज्ञानी न्योत्यर्थम अहम साचा मम प्रिया उदाराः सर्व एवैते ज्ञानी त्व आत्मैव मे मतम् आस्थिताः सा हि युक्त आत्मा मामेव अनुत्तमं गतिम् ओम बहूनं जन्मनामन्ते ज्ञानवान् मम प्रपद्यते वासुदेवः सर्वमिति स महा आत्मा सुदुर्लभ कामैस्त्रहित ज्ञान प्रपद्यन्ते यन्यदेवताः तं तं नियमास्थाय प्राकृत्य नियता स्वयः ओम यो यो यां यां तनु भक्तः श्रद्धार्चितुमिच्छति तस्य तस्य चलां श्राद्धं तामेव विदधाम्यहम् सा तया श्रद्धया युक्तस्तस्य राधनमहीहते लभते च तथा कामान् यैव विहितान् वितान् ओमन्तवन्तु फलं तेषां मद्भव अल्पमेधसां देवदेव यज्ञो यान्ति मद्भक्त यान्ति मामपि ओम अव्यक्तं व्यक्तिमापन्नं मन्यन्ते माम बुद्धयः परं भावम् अजानन्तो मम अव्ययम् अनुत्तमम् ओम नाहं प्रकाशः सर्वस्य योगमाया समावृता मूढो अयं नाभिजानाति लोको मामजम् अव्ययम् ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नमः ओम वेदाहं समितितानि वर्तमानानि च अर्जुन भविष्यानि च भूतानि मम तु वेद न कश्चन ओम इच्छा द्वेष समुत्थेन द्वन्द्वमोहेन भारत सर्वभूतानि सम्मोहं सर्गे यान्ति परन्तप ओम तेषां त्वन्तगतं पापं जनानं पुण्यकर्मणां ते द्वन्द्वमोहि निर्मुक्त भजन्ते मम दृढव्रता ओम जरा मरण मोक्षाय मामाश्रित्य यतन्ति ये ते ब्रह्मा तद्विदु कृष्णम अद्य आत्मं कर्म चाखिलम् ओम साधिभूतादिदैवं मम साधियज्ञं च ये विदु प्रयाङ्कालेऽपि चामं ते विदुर्युक्त चेतसाम् ओम तत्सदिति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्म विद्यां योग शास्त्री कृष्ण अर्जुन संवादे ज्ञान विज्ञान योग नाम सप्तमो अध्याय संपूर्ण ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नमः जय कृष्ण हरे श्री कृष्ण हरे दुखियों को दुख दूर करे जय 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 कृष्ण हरे जब चार तरफ अंधियारा हो आशा का दूर किनारा हो जब चार तरफ अंधियारा हो आशा का दूर किनारा हो फिर तू ही न खेवन हारा हो फिर तुम ही बेड़ा पार करो जय 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 कृष्ण हरे जय कृष्ण हरे श्री कृष्ण हरे दुखियों को दुख दूर करे जय 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 कृष्ण हरे तू चाहे तो सब कुछ कर दे विष को भी अमृत कर दे तू चाहे तो सब कुछ कर दे विष को भी अमृत कर दे पूर्ण करके सबकी आशा प्रभु पूर्ण करके सबकी आशा जो भी तेरा ध्यान धरे, प्रभु जो भी तेरा ध्यान धरे। जय 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 कृष्ण हरे, जय कृष्ण हरे, श्री कृष्ण हरे। दुखियों को दुख दूर करे, जय 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 कृष्ण हरे। दुखियों को दुख दूर करे, जय 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 कृष्ण हरे। ओम शन्न मित्र शन्वर्ण शन्नो भवत्यार्यम, शन्नो इंद्रो बृहस्पति, शन्नो विष्णु रुक्रम। थोड़ा आगे हम क्लोजर। बोलो श्री भगवत भगवान की जय। भैया, privileged and blessed are we this afternoon with this opportunity that is second to none. In that, by facing the risk of commute and relinquishing the comfort and security of our home, we give ourselves the opportunity to congregate in the company of each other as an extended family for the purpose of Satsang. The prayer for the soul is already done. What we are going to do now here is for us, with the hope that whatever is shared equally amongst us in the form of Katha this evening may contribute in a tangible way in providing us with an idea that would help us to better restructure whatever is left of the human journey of life on planet Earth, so that when it would have come to an end, that there would be no room for regret and lament. It is said, Satsang is the institution through which we are able to provide ourselves with the logistics and the intelligence that is required to navigate ourselves successfully across the insignificancy of life, with the hope that when we would have reached the final destination, that the soul would be allowed the opportunity to become free from the prison of birth and death. But the nature of Satsang is as such, Bhaiya. But in order to find oneself in Satsang, one must be the recipients of the Lord's grace and blessings. In fact, in Rama in Katha, Bhagwan Shankar in Mount Kailash for the welfare of mankind, he was saying to Mother Parvati, as he was revealing to her the nature of the glories of Maryada Purushottam Prabhu Shri Ramchandra Ji. And in that dialogue, he said to her, Girija Sansamagamam Samay na labh kachuan, bin Hari Kripa se hoi nara, Gavahi Veda Puran. O my beloved Girija, Satsang and our fellowship with the pious, religious and noble-minded individuals of one's community and society can bring to one's existence in manifold ways happiness and peace. Lekin bina Hari Kripa se hoi nara. If we are bereft of the blessings of the Lord, never in dream can we have the opportunity that is now at our disposal. How is it possible for us to become recipients of the Lord's blessings, through which medium we are able to find ourselves in forum of this nature that is geared to provide us with the resourcefulness that will allow us to champion the challenges of today in preparation for tomorrow, so that our children and grandchildren may have a better place to live in when we leave it in the end. Bhagwan Prabhu Shri Ramchandra Ji, Bhaiya, the Prince of Ayodhya, the first son of Maharaj Dasarath and Queen Kaushalya, when he relinquished his right to the throne of Ayodhya Puri and entered into the wilderness of forest life for 14 long years in the company of Mother Sita and Bhaiya Lakshman, he met with many a people in the journey. But when he would have crossed the river Sarayu and entered into Chitrakoot, he met with a supremely wise sage known by the name of Mahamuni Valmiki. Valmiki was the knower Trikal Darsi hai. He was the knower of the past, the present and the future. He was able to see in the present, the past and the future. He was Indriyajit. He was the conqueror of the senses of perception and action, the Gyan and Karam Indriyas. He was Daya ke Ghar, the storehouse of compassion. And he had access to the Supreme Brahm. Knowledge of the Supreme Eternal was revealed to him like a plum in the palm of his hand. Bhagwan Shri Ramchandra Ji, in his entry into the forest for 14 years after crossing the river Ganga, was a guest of that sage. And they had a beautiful conversation after Valmiki welcomed him ceremoniously without room for reproach. As Shri Ramchandra Ji enjoyed comfort and security, and as he took the weight off his feet and sat upon the seat that was given to him by His Holiness the sage Mahamuni Valmiki, Bhagwan Shri Ramchandra Ji made many a comment Shri Valmiki Muni experienced many a joy and happiness that words are insufficient to describe, but can only be experienced by a devotee who is totally absorbed in the joy of devotion given unto the lotus feet of Lord Hari. In the end of the conversation, Bhagwan Ramchandra ji in this doha, he said, Tat vachana punima tuhita bhai bharat yasara O Baba bhai bharat yasara Tat vachana punima tuhita bhai bharat asara O Baba bhai bharat yasara Mo kaha daras tumhar prabhu Sav mama punya prabhavasya Prabhu Ramchandra पद जय शरणम तात वचन पुनि मातु हित भाई भरत यशराव मोह कहाँ दरस तुम्हार प्रभु सब मम पुण्य प्रभाव. During those moments, Bhaiya Bhagwan Shri Ramchandra ji decided to reveal to the holiness of the sage Valmiki Mahamuni the reason as to why he is in the wilderness of forest for 14 long years. And in this doha he said, Tat vachana puni matu hita, to honor the word of my father, to fulfill the desire of my mother, to bring unending royal happiness, security and comfort to my brother and subjects all. Bhai Bharata Yasara, I am into the forest of banishment for 14 years. Mo kaha darasa tumhar Prabhu, sava mama punya prabha. O Holy Sir, my presence in the front of your holiness in the company of Mahadevi, Sita and Bhaiya Lakshman is only due to the blessings of my subject. Had not for my father's word and my mother's desire, it would have only been a dream standing in the front of your holiness in this physical form. Bhaiya, for your coming here tonight, you was able to win without resistance, the warmth, the love, the admiration, the acknowledgement and the acceptance of your parents for whom you are to them. And it is because of that you qualify yourself to be the recipients of the Lord's blessings, through which medium this evening you choose to relinquish all happiness and security and comfort and to face the rules of commute, to come and sit with Pandit Navin, my nephew, and the other extended family of the bereaved family here, to expense these valuable moments, giving praise and thanks to Bhagwan and asking the blessings, so that whatever challenges that we are to encounter in the process of bridging this river of separation on the bank of which we are now standing, that we may be able to do so effortlessly. Dear devotees, it is a blessing for me tonight to reveal to you a little katha that my brother and I used to enjoy saying, you know. And he was very fascinated when we sat together to read. For all my life, most of my life here, we spent together with him, you know. I is one of the brothers in the family that really enjoy his camaraderie for a long, long time. You know, in the time of yore, wherever you would have seen Pandit Ramesh Kishore Maharaj, you would also have seen his little brother, Pandit Bhagwat Kishore Maharaj. Pandit Devrat, my other brother, he used to always be 1 hour ahead of the game. You know, he was the time manager when we were practicing Panditai in the company of each other in the days of yore. So he used to monitor with time, he used to control everything. He was the Baba who make all the decisions that has to be made in the process of the yagna, the Pandit Rohit father. You know, so he was the man who was the Minister of Discipline and Enforcement when we three was hanging out together in the days of yore. This evening Katha here, you know, मर्यादा पुरुषोत्तम भक्त वत्सल प्रभु श्री रामचंद्र जी अमृत कथा कानों के द्वारा पान करने से पहले भैया मैं आप लोग के लिए एक भजन प्रस्तुत करेगा. Before we make the attempt to share amongst ourselves the most esoteric and purifying glories of the Lord Shri Ram, join me in a bhajan. My brother used to always like to sing. I would like to sing it for you. I don't sing like he, but you know, I will try to be myself today. Bhajan go like this, bhai. In order for us to truly benefit with what is about to be shared among us, this is what we need to do. Naam ka deep jalale अंधेरा पल भर में मिट जाए। ओ पल भर में मिट जाए, अंधेरा पल भर में मिट जाए। राम का दीप जला ले, अंधेरा पल भर में मिट जाए। जिस ज्योति से जग उजियारा, जिस ज्योति से जग उजियारा, वो है ईश्वर प्राण प्यारा, वो है ईश्वर प्राण प्यारा। उसको मनवा रमा ले, अंधेरा पल भर में मिट जाए। नाम का दीप जला ले, अंधेरा पल भर में मिट जाए। सत्संगत में लौ लग जाती, मन को बसा ले प्रेम की बाती हो। सत्संगत में लौ लग जाती, मन को बना ले प्रेम की बाती हो। मन को रमा ले प्रेम की बाती, ज्ञान की ज्योति जगा दे, अंधेरा पल भर में मिट जाए। नाम का दीप जला ले, जला ले, अंधेरा पल भर में मिट जाए, पल भर में मिट जाए। राम पल भर में मिट जाए। नाम का दीप जला ले, अंधेरा पल भर में मिट जाए। When you allow the name of the Lord Shri Ram to sit permanently in the tip of your tongue, all the darknesses in the journey of life becomes eliminated instantaneously. It is said, constant recitation of the name divine of the Lord for fixed period of time, for fixed number of time, will contribute in the intensifying of our spiritual development and growth. And when that happen, we would have less attraction with the distractions and the attractions of the external world, of which we are temporarily part and parcel of. When we slowly become to detach from the things that we are attached to, it is only then in the living process of life that we will grow in a fourfolded way, namely physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. If there is an imbalance in any of the forementioned, then we have a problem. It would be difficult for us to grow healthily in this fourfolded manner. It is said, through the chanting of prayer and through the giving of oneself, through the call of prayer unto the lotus feet of Bhagavan, with unadulterated love and devotion in their heart, one is allowing themselves the opportunity to secure the preparedness that is required to go back home from whence they have come into existence, and to gain eternal freedom, freedom from the cycle of birth and death. Katha also inform us that during the living process of life on planet Earth, it is incumbent upon us as practitioners of Hindu Dharma to appropriate ourselves in such a way that we would be able to enjoy the fruits of our existence, namely Dharam, Arth, Kama and Moksha. What is Dharma? Dharma is the right to live after you're dead. Example, Martin Luther King, Nelson Mandela, Mahatma Gandhi, to name a few. Even though they are dead people, because of the history of the human world and the legacy that they have left behind, they will continue to live in us and amongst us. That is dharma. What is artha? Artha is economics. In dharma, they tell us that we must also be economically viable. That would lead us to the enjoyment of karma without the luxuries and the finer paraphernalias of the external world, of which we are temporarily part and parcel of, without hurting the pocketbook. Your retirement must be secured before you retire. So too, bhaiya, is spiritual cognition. When you are able to, you can't wait for death to come at your door and then want to gain spiritual cognition. It is not going to happen to you like that. Unless you remember to call the name of the Lord at that point in time when this transition is going to take place with you. And that's a difficult thing, because we are influenced by the rules of duality. And because of that, our attention span is shortened and we are easily distracted, and we tend to not to remember the things that is required of us, but to be attentive of the things that is not required of us. You know, ulta सीधा करते हैं ना, तो कभी-कभी, you know, बिगड़ जाएगा, you know. When we do things without doing our due diligence, we would find ourselves in very compromising situations. So Katha is telling us that these are the things that is required of us in order to enjoy the adventure that is being encountered in the living process of life. And finally, bhaiya, after karma, moksha. Moksha is not going to heaven and come back. You know, in Bhagwat Gita chapter 17, Bhagwan was asked by Arjun. He said, Prabhu, I have only one reservation. Everything you tell me, I accept. I have no doubt whatsoever. I good to go. One thing I have, reservation I have. He said, Prabhu, and you didn't mention anything about that. So Bhagwan said, Bolo, kya hai? What it is? He said, Prabhu, you tell me what has happened to bad people. You tell me what has happened to good people. But you never tell me about people who are victims of duality. Are you understanding me? Because all is very smart people, you know. So I want to speak in your terms. If I go to talk in my terms, they are young will like it. So Bhagwan Krishna said that my devotees, though they may have fallen from the path of yoga, will never suffer. He said, what will happen to them? He said, well, when they die, they will go to heaven. All of it when they. That's why all of we come here, because we had a connection. I was the janitor, that's why I know that. You know? And he said that after they exhaust the religious merit, all the good things that they have done on earth, and their tenure of residency in heaven ends, they would be sent back into the world in the home of the parents that you and I are born into. This is why you were born to that particular parent. This is why we was born in the particular bloodline that we belong to. Every one of us were here. These parents that we have, they were chosen for us. They were the biological engineers that the Lord selected to use in order for us to get a channel to enter into this world, to capitalize on the second chance for a first impression. And if you blow it this time high, as we just say in Pinal Vita, crapo, smoke your pipe. You know, bhaiya, because nothing that we are in possession of, nothing that we will acquire, nothing that we have acquired would be of any benefit to us when we would have reached our final destination. The purpose of its acquisition was to be sustainable for the duration of the travel. And when you would have reached your destination, there would definitely be no need for it, because that is not the currency that would be used when you have crossed the river of the mundane existence. This is the objective of the human body. Bare bhag manus tan paya sur durlabh surgantana pava. It is by great fortune we get this human body, bhaiya. It was given to us to be used by the soul as a mechanism, as a means of transport to take it back to that realm of no return, and to allow it to enjoy freedom from the going and coming cycle of birth and death. It is also described as sadhana dhamma moksha ke dwara, the storehouse of all virtuous qualities and the doorway of the kingdom of God. Pai najehi parlok gawara, acquiring this human body and failing to acknowledge or acquaint yourself with the purpose for which it was given or acquired, then you will live to regret. Then yaso parat dukpavahi dhun dhun pachitai kalahi karmahi ishwarahi mithya dosh lagai. And because of your shortcomings and incompetencies and short-term attention span, you will find yourself in difficulties, and then you will blame time, God and fate for your incompetencies. We don't have imperfections, here. We have behavioral flaws. My mom always used to say to me, beta, two things blind people don't do. They don't drive motor car and they don't play cards. So that says a lot. If we are focused in the task that is at hand, there will be no reason for inappropriation. And this is why in Dharma say, do your due diligence. Apply the rule of carpentry in the living process of life. Measure twice, cut once. That will allow you to be very, very successful. It is only through the medium of Katha Bhaiya and through the medium of prayer that we are able to illuminate the internal darknesses that is depriving us to behold from within the true characteristics and qualities of the external world, of which we are temporary part and parcel of. And because of that, we find ourselves being victim of the chaos and confusion in the world that we are part of. Tonight's Katha goes like this, Bhaiya. It's about an old lady. And this old lady was close to 100 years. And she was advised by her guru before his migration to the spiritual world that if you will remain here and continue after I am gone, performing the duties that you are doing and chant the name Ram, har pal, har ghari, har din, har raat, he will one day come and pay homage and visit to you. He will one day be your divine guest of honor. And by that happening, you will be allowed the opportunity to merge into him and become one with him, and never to have to come back into the cycle of birth and death. This lady took this to heart. And after the migration of her guru, she continued to indulge herself in the performance of the duties to maintain the sanctity of the environment. Religiousness is not only fasting and keeping the body and mind clean. That's a hard thing to do, to keep the body and mind clean, because the nutrition that is prescribed in the process of preparing to do puja, we just really find it difficult to do. Things that good for you, bhaiya, don't taste. If you don't have an acquired taste, it don't taste good. So in Vidharma, everything is provided for us to be healthy and intelligent and durable, to participate in religious activities that is geared to strengthen our spiritual growth and development while we reside temporarily within the confines of this human kingdom, possessing 9 gates of exit and entry. So this good old lady, bhaiya, on one evening, and at a very ripe old age, she was about 99 years old, according to one of the school of thought on this hypothesis. So one day in the evening, Rauni Samai, when the sun was about to sink itself in the western horizon, and after she performed her Sandhya Puja, she sat at her front door, in her hermitage that was built out of branches, straws, grass and leaves, and she began to indulge in stupendous speculation with respect to the investment that she have made, giving herself to God and performing all this seva and chanting his name with love in her heart, with the hope that one day he will come and pay homage to her as a guest of honor. And now she is thinking to herself that I am approaching the doors of death, and this Bhagwan that my guru talk about ain't come yet. He look like them pandit and them full-eyed. Yeah, that's how people just think, when they get what they want yesterday, they ask today for it, but they want it yesterday, and they go say the pandit ain't good. Beta, my mom always tell me, son, when you didn't get what you're looking for, it means you wasn't qualified to receive it. So search out now your shortcomings and prepare yourself so second time wrong, you're going to miss out. Don't blame other people for your unpreparedness, so to speak. So this old lady now, she sat at the front door, she lights a little diya and thing, and she began to indulge in a stupendous thought. And in the process of her indulgence, she began to sing to herself and to the Lord that is within her. The Lord is already in her, but for some reason she's not seeing him. She is taking for granted the word of the Guru that the Lord will come in a physical form. And she is waiting on that. She is fully confident of that. So on this occasion, inauspicious occasion, whereas the sun was sitting in the western sky, the poor old lady, as she began to indulge in this stupendous thought, like when this God is going to come again, she began to sing. It goes like this. Ram Rama Ratte Ratte Ram Rama Ratte Ratte बीती जाए उमरिया राम राम रटते रटते बीती जाए उमरिया रघुकुल नंदन कब आओगे रघुकुल नंदन कब आओगे भिलनी के झोपरिया राम रामा रटते रटते राम रामा रटते रटते बीती जाए उमरिया. She saying to herself, Ram 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 रटते रटते सारे उमर बीत गया. Oh Lord, chanting your name, I have spent my entire life. Raghukula Nandan Kabaungi, O crescent jewel of the Raghu race, when would you have come to bless me and to respond and to fulfill the proclamation of the Guru which he had made to me prior to his migration. Main sevari bhilni ke jati भजन भाव नहीं जानू रे मैं सेवरी भिलनी के जाति भजन भाव नहीं जानू रे राम तुम्हारे दर्शन के हित बन मैं जीवन पानू रे राम तुम्हारे दर्शन के हित बन मैं जीवन पानू रे चरण कमल से निर्मल कर लो चरण कमल से निर्मल कर लो दास की झोपरिया राम राम रटते रटते राम राम रटते रटते बीती जाए उमरिया राम राम रट. She said, my sevari bhilni ke jati. Maybe she's thinking for the Lord. You know how people likes to think for other people, bhaiya, which is not a good discipline to practice in the living process of life. You just inflict upon yourself a lot of confrontation. And then you just want to blame other people for it. We are accustomed. The reason for that here is because we have a singular way of thinking. Living in a pluralistic environment like ours and thinking in a singular way is not a good thing. If we are not pluralistic in our thoughts, mindfulness will be totally absent. And that is most important. When we develop a sense of mindfulness, it is only then we will contribute in the developing of a cohesive society and strengthening of an extended family like ours. Jahan sumat tahan sampati nana, wahan kumat jahan vipat nidhana. Where there is social understanding, acknowledgement, and acceptance of each other for whom we are to each other, not whom you want us to be, it is only then that which is just mentioned become a reality. Otherwise, bhaiya, we are domestic prisoners in a free world. So the old lady is saying, "Mai sevari bhilni ke jati." Maybe the Lord is thinking, the crescent jewel of the Raghu race, Ram is thinking that I is a poor old lady, you know, bhilni, I from the low class, the untouchable class. Maybe because of that, you know, he ain't want to come by me house. Ram tumhare darshan ke hit ban mein jeevan palu. That Lord, she continued to think in positive tone, that Lord, for the sake of having you darshan and experiencing the fulfillment of the proclamation of my Guru, I choose to spend my entire life in this forest. When would you come, my Lord? Prabhuji, charan kamal se nirmal kar lo. When would you come in to visit my ashram and let the dust from the sole of your lotus-like feet purify my home and my environment and allow me the opportunity to gain the fulfillment of the investment that I have made through the giving of myself onto thy lotus feet, chanting your great name. The devotee continues to say to herself as she indulges stupendously, as she reminds herself of the Lord's presence in her home, life and existence. She continues to say, "Roj savere ban mein jaakar rasta saaf karate hoon, roj savere ban mein jaakar rasta saaf karati hoon, अपने प्रभु के खातिर वन से, अपने प्रभु के खातिर वन से चुन चुन फल मैं लाती हूँ, अपने प्रभु के खातिर वन से चुन चुन फल मैं लाती हूँ, मीठे मीठे बेरन के भर, मीठे मीठे बेरन के भर लाई है छबरिया, राम राम रटते रटते राम, राम रटते रटते बीती जाए उमरिया, रघुकुल नंदन कब आओगे, रघुकुल नंदन कब आओगे, भिलनी के झोपड़िया, राम राम रटते रट, O Ram, Rama. She also is saying to herself as she dived deeper into that well of stupendous speculation, Roj savere ban mein jaakar rasta saaf karate ho, that every day for this 99 years that I spend in this forest, I get up very early in the morning before the rising sun, after responding to the calls of nature and performing worship to the Lord of the rising sun. I go into the forest and make sure that the track is very clean and well decorated in anticipation of your coming. And when you would not have shown up, Prabhu, I would never be disappointed, and I would continue to repeat this for 99 years. अपने प्रभु के खातिर वन से चुन चुन फल मैं लाती हूँ. For the sake of you, who is being expected as my divine guest of honor in my home, I would collect every day these sweet and delicious tasting fruit and bring them to my home so that it can be given to you as a token of my acknowledgement and acceptance of your presence in my home and in my life. Oh Prabhu, when you would show up on that occasion, I will continue to make the same preparation day and night. Bhaiya, in this beautiful verse, this is what the lady said. And when she made this comment, it was that time a phenomenal revelation present itself to the vision of her naked eyes in that Arauni Samai, in that moment when the sun was about to totally sink himself in the western horizon. It goes like this. Sundar Sham Salone Surat नैनों में बीच बसाऊंगी सुंदर श्याम सलोने सूरत नैनों में बीच बसाऊंगी पद पंकज की रज धर मस्तक चरणों में शीश लगाऊंगी पद पंकज की रज धर मस्तक चरणों में शीश लगाऊंगी प्रभु जी मुझको भूल गए क्या प्रभु जी मुझको भूल गए क्या दास की थपरिया राम रामा रटते राम रामा रटते बीती जाए उमरिया रामा रामा रटते बीती जाए Umariya. In this way, Bhaiya, she said, Lord, I crave the desire to behold with the vision of my naked eyes your most beautiful and enchanting form as described to me by my revered Guru in anticipating of your coming as he was about to migrate to the beyond world. Oh Prabhu, have you forgotten me? And we say that sometime. So the moment she make mention of that word to herself, instantaneously she raised her head, and when she would have risen her head, Bhaiya, above her shoulder, what she would have seen? She would have seen through the gentle breeze that was blowing in the forest at that time and the shaking leaf as the sun was sinking in the western horizon, the characteristics and personality of two young men. And at that point in time, curiosity got the better part of her. And when she would have looked closer, she saw exactly the two persons that was described to her by her Guru Matangji prior to their coming in this form to her home. She saw them in silken yellow dhoti covering their lower extremities. They were barefooted. The jata was matted and it was wrapped around them head, providing them with an exceedingly beautiful crown. It was just about then that the two princes, Ram and Lakshmana, had now destroyed Kaban in the forest, and after performing his Antiyesh Sanskar and allowing him his original personality and characteristics and status of a heavenly resident, they bathed in the waters of the river. And after that, Lakshman was told by Ram, let us go a little further in this forest and search for a place where we can camp for the rest of the night. And as they was doing so, they noticed this well-maintained and cared for track. And Bhagwan Ram said to Lakshman Bhaiya, he said, let us follow this track. It would lead us to an ashram. It is only a person of God will maintain an environment of this nature to attract the people of similar qualities. And so the two brothers slowly but and gracefully, with a garland of wild fragrantful flowers around their neck, equipped with the quiver full with arrows and the dhanush, the bow, they began to approach the hermitage. When Shabari would have realized who they were, instantaneously, Jaise, like a drunken person, she rushed forward to Bhagwan, daurkar Bhagwan ki charnon mein dant ki saman gir pada aur baar baar ne Prabhu ji ki charnon mein shat shat pranam karta hai. She drunkenly rushed forward to the Lord Shri Ram and fell like a stick at his feet, prostrating her head again and again in quest of her blessings. And then she escorted them into her hermitage and offered them a very comfortable seat. And then gracefully and reverently stood in their presence, and with clapped hands she said to them, Pani joriya ge baithari प्रभु ही बिलो की प्रीति उर्बारी, प्रीति उर्बारी। केहि विधि स्तुति करव तुम्हारी, केहि विधि स्तुति करऊं तुम्हारी। अधम जाति मैं जरमति भारी, ओ जरमति भारी राम जरमति भारी। अधम जाति मैं जरमति भारी, जरमति भारी। Immediately, Bhaiya, in that posture, she remember her folly. She reminding herself of her folly. And now she is going in this gesture to ask the compassion of the Lord by making entreaties to Him with great love and devotion in her heart, which was too small for same to contain. And in the form of tears, it began to hurriedly rush from the stream of her eyes. And she said to the Lord, Kehi bidhiya stuti karo tumhari. How can I glorify Thee, O my Lord? Adhama jati mai jaramati bhari. Dull-witted and wretched as I am, O my Prabhu, how can I glorify Thee? Adhamate adhama adhama atinari tinama hamay mati mandagavari, mati mandagavari. कहरा घुपाती सुनो भामिनी बाता, कहरा घुपाती सुनो भामिनी बाता। मानव एक भक्ति करनाता, अरे भक्ति करनाता राम भक्ति करनाता हो, भक्ति करनाता राम भक्ति करनाता राम भक्ति करनाता। मानव एक भक्ति करनाता, भक्ति करनाता। Shabari is saying to the Lord, as she stood with great respect and honor and prostratively in the front of His physical presence, saying to Him that, Prabhu, adhamate adham adhamati nari, among the lowest of women in this world, I am the lowest of the low. I am considered to be not worthy of being cited the first thing in the morning. I am not worthy of anything, for such is my character, nature, and the qualities that I possess, dull-witted and wretched. Bhagwan, immediately when He heard her making this comment about herself, she was in search of self-cognition. So she was blaming herself. She was reflecting on her folly, thinking to herself that how foolish can I be to doubt the words of my Guru. Mantra Moolam, Guru Vakyam. The words, the thoughts, the sentiments, the opinion of the Guru Bhaiya is based on scriptural authority. And they are illuminating. Those words are luminant, fluorescent, they're like bulb, to dispel all doubts and reservation and allow you the opportunity to search out the excellencies that you possess. When you would have discovered the excellencies that you possess, then you would be able to reach the stars without your feet having to leave the ground. It is only when we are able to recognize the power and the potency of the thoughts and the sentiments and the blessings of our Guru. Never take it for granted. And not for one moment should you doubt the thoughts and sentiments, the opinion and the devotion of the Guru. Because you know, it is not about the Guru, it is always about the Chela. In our profession, the Hindu priests of the Western Hemisphere, the doctors of this world, the attorneys of this world, we take the same oath. It is never about us. It is always about the patient and the client and the aspirant. But when we would have made it about us, it is only then we will find ourselves in discrepancies. You know, in the business world, the customer is always right. That is what Hindu Dharma is all about. We are the librarians of our Dharma, and it is incumbent upon us to provide the information that will allow the aspirant and the strivers to create that repellent that will protect them from the effects of the chaos and the confusion of the world that they are temporarily part and parcel of, so that the living process of their life will continue to be adventurous and exciting. Bhagwan Prabhu Shri Ramchandra Ji, immediately when he realized what Shabari was doing, he spoke to her and he addressed her, Sunubhamini Mata, listen to what I have to say, O mother. There are many words that is used to shout out to our mother. One of the many words is Bhamini. Another word is Ma. Another word is Ai. You know, these are the shabdas that is being used by us to shout to our mother, to call out to our mother. So Bhagwan Ram put his hands together and he said, Mai, listen, you're talking a little too much. Here I had to say now. Because that is the nature of a mother's love now. It is unfathomable. It cannot be measured. It cannot be burnt in fire. It cannot be drenched in water. It cannot be blown or wind by the wind. For such is the nature of the mother's love, bhaiya. It is like that of the soul, everlasting, eternal. And Bhagwan Krishna said to Arjuna in Bhagwat Gita, Vai, Nainam chindanti shastrani, Nainam dahati pavakana, Chainam kaledyantyapho na shoshayati maruta. The nature of a mother's love is as such, bhaiya. You know, so when Bhagwan Shri Ram realized that this is what is happening, she is drunken in the divine ecstasy that merged in her heart. She has loosened her consciousness and attachment to the environment that she is temporarily part and parcel of. And the reason for that was the presence of the Lord in the confines of her home as a divine guest of honor. And in this way, bhaiyas, Bhagwan said that the only thing that I gravitate to in this human world is devotion in the heart of the aspirant. That if you had devotion, everything good. Bhakti yoga, bhaiya. And bhakti means compassion. Compassion to everything that share the space that we all occupy in, including the snake, the crapo, the lizard. All of them soul is the same soul that in this human body. But because of bad karma, they have to take birth in sinful wombs. But because of their interaction with the human world, there's a possibility that they can transmigrate from one body to the next until they reach this human body, which is the doorway to the kingdom of God and this abode of all virtuous qualities that can be used in an appropriate manner that will allow them to enjoy the best of both worlds. And when their time here had come to an end, that they will go back to heaven or to become free from the prison of birth and death, like my late brother Pandit Ramesh Kishore Maharaj. He was a devotee of Shiv Baba, but he loved Ramayana like how pig love mud. You can't tell he nothing about Ramayana. Oh, such was the nature of my beloved brother Bhaiya. And when Ramchandra Ji said to Shabari, Mother, you don't worry now. Nothing wrong with you. You is the bestest of the people that I have ever encountered during my time thus far in this forest. You know, and the devotion and love that you have exhibited for my coming into your home in this physical form is extraordinary. Bayan nahi hai isko bolne ke liye. Yahan words enough to describe how happy and how gravitating that is to me. It is because of that love, O Mother, that I have come here, that I have seen in you. The moment Bhagwan Shri Ramchandra Ji helped her to identify with that love, Dandaki Saman Bhaiya, then she became luj. All you know is luj, right? Most of us are parents, Bhaiya, all you see when a newborn baby, how did they? Well, they call that luj. When you're moving that child, you have to be very, very careful, otherwise limbs and things in the body could be displaced. So it's the same way Shabari get, and she put she hand together and join me as we come to the end of Katha here, and began to present to the Lord the nature of His compassion. She's going to tell the Lord how great He is. Mare Prabhu Auguna Chetana Dharu. My Lord, you never take into account the fault of the devotee, even if they have fault you. Samadarasi hai naam tiharo. All encompassing is that of your divine name, which is the storehouse of joy, ecstasy, and happiness. Bathing oneself in that fountain will allow us the opportunity to enjoy the best of both worlds. Mare Prabhu Auguna Chetana Dharu. Ek nadiya ek naad kahavat ye lo neer bhayo. Jab mil gaya tab ek baran bhayo. Jab mil gaya tab ek baran bhayo. Ganga naam dharo re hamare Prabhu Auguna Chetana Dharu. Just like when the rain would have fallen on the mountain peaks and the water will hurriedly rush down its slope and enter into the river, you think the water alone going in the river? No, it taken with it sediments that get trapped in its movement into the river. And when you would look at the river, you go say it dirty. Look how smart this lady is saying. But before the waters of that river would have reached the ocean, what would have happened to the sediment? It would all have dropped to the base of the river. Then you're going to say the water dirty. Water is never dirty, but only dirty things travel in it. Remember that. Only dirty things travel with it, just like us. We are not bad people, but bad things travel with us. And we empower it from time to time. But before we would have reached our destination, we will gain the cognition of that indiscipline that is a pertinent part of our life, and that we should do something about it. And when we would have taken the initiative to do something about it, it is only then the transition will take place in the manner in which you would have had like it to be. And so here, Shabari is saying, just like how that water before it would have reached the ocean, the sediments that came with it in the river will drop at the base of the river, O Lord. By you coming into my home, that sediment that I was carrying has now dropped on to the bed of the river. And she continued to say, Ek loha puja me rakhat, ek ghar badhe kadharo. जब दुविधा पारस नहीं मानत, जब दुविधा पारस नहीं मानत, कंचन करत करो हमारे प्रभु अवगुण चेतन धरो. एक लोहा पूजा में राखत. Lord, we just worship you in the form of stone, but you reside in the stone in the form of trapped energy. Physics say that every physical object in this planet is possessed with energy. So you can't tell me the murti in the temple does not have life, because there is energy within that. Physics says over here. If you want to say otherwise, well, then I don't have no argument. But I'm just telling you what I learned in school. And that is very convincing enough for me to acknowledge the notion that within the confines of the imagery that we create from granite, that the divinity of the Lord is resident. You had to do other things to convince me otherwise. That is a firm conviction. So Shabari is saying, Prabhu, you is like the Parasmani, the philosopher's stone. That anything it touch, it come into physical contact with, it is transformed into cherishable and valuable object. Lord, today by you coming into my home, that happened to me. I is no more a dirty river flowing dirty water. I am pure. I am a gem. I'm a polished diamond like my nephew, Pandit Navin Omadath Maharaj. Give him a round of applause. My brother leave a legacy for me never to forget, beta, in him and in his grandson. This is his grandson. The other day he tell me, he said, no, Uncle Rupi asked me, what kind of, when I want to, if I want to be a pandit, he said, yeah. He said, what kind of pandit you would like to be? Would you like to be a pandit like your dada or a pandit like your Aja? And he proudly said, I want to be a pandit like my Aja. He come to tie dhoti this evening to sit with me, and he say, Aja, Florida Aja, he just called me. He said, Florida Aja, can you tie me dhoti like Aja one? I said, sure, because it is only my brother and me who wear dhoti like that. It's only the two of we. So, Bhaiya, Shabari began to seek the compassion of the Lord and acknowledge her folly and confess her incompetencies to the Lord, who accepted her and allowed her to enjoy Jivan Mukta. What is Jivan Mukta? Liberating of the soul prior to it having to leave the physical body. May God bless you here. Dhanyavad. In this short bhajan, I seek your leave. हमारे मन ले गए नंद कुमार, हमारे मन ले गए नंद कुमार, हमारे मन ले गए नंद कुमार। थारी कदम तिर मुरली गायावत गावत रागमलार, हो बाबा गावत रागमलार। धारी कदम तिर मुरली बजावत गावत रागमलार, हो भैया गावत रागमलार। मृद मुस्कान बिलोकन वाके सो नहीं जात विचार, हमारे मन ले गए नंद कुमार, हमारे मन ले गए नंद कुमार। बाल अमोल लाल कर कुंडल नाग मुनिन को हार, हो बाबा नाग मुनिन को हार। बाल अमोल लाल कर कुंडल नाग मुनिन को हार, हो भैया नाग मुनिन को हार। राम निवल सजन नंद नंदन है मेरे प्राण आधार, हमारे मन ले गए नंद कुमार, हमारे मन ले गए नंद कुमार, हमारे मन ले गए नंद कुमार, हमारे मन ले गए नंद कुमार। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नमः। इति श्री न बेटा कोई
Ram Nam, Ram Nam, Ram Nam. On behalf of my daddy, who's the matriarch of our family, behalf of my brother and my uncles, my uncle, my father, may I extend, of course, thank you again on behalf of the family for coming out this evening and supporting us in Satsang for the second night. Again, as I scrolled through Facebook today, I saw the amount of love and support that you have been giving us. And I also saw a little clip of my dada singing at the temple in a bhajamala that we had a good few years ago, because now it was a little more.
Are you saying me boy getting old?
So, a few years ago, and you know, it brought a lot of memories. Even this morning, I was going to work, and I reversed my father car to take out my vehicle to come to work. And as I started his car, I was hearing Dada singing in his car. So I went inside and told my Dulan, we're in the next city. I want to listen to it while I'm driving to work. And just how my kaka would have sung for you all is the same way Dada sang. But as he said, Dada's voice was different. Dada is Dada. So, and earlier he would have said all that the amount of yagyas they would have done together as three brothers is I can't even speak. I've been even born when they started to do all these yagyas together. My father was telling me in the night when we went to see him in the nursing home, the last night before we saw him and we was coming back, my father was telling me, they do finish a yagya Sunday morning, start Sunday night. Finish a yagya Sunday morning, start Sunday night. And they went like that for months. He even went up to told me that when they did a yagya at this house, to the left of the road, the right of the road had a yagya and had nobody in that yagya. Everybody was in this yagya. This is how powerful these brothers were. And it has resonated into 5th generation Shabari. This little boy here is my nephew, and he is also going to be a Baba. 5th generation, and you know, I don't know what to say. And this is the blessings of our family and of our bloodline. But may Bhagwan truly bless of my Dada wherever he is, and may his soul merge into oneness. On behalf of my brother, my father, my uncle, my daddy, my entire family, may I thank all of you. I also want to invite all of you to come tomorrow evening as well for Satsang the same time. And tomorrow my father will read Katha for you all. And also take the opportunity to invite all of you for the Madhyam Sudashi or the Vandara Shrad, which will be done on the 17th, which is the Sunday after Kartik. You all are, of course, invited. 9 a.m. You can come before, but 9 a.m. and to join us in worship to Bhagwan Sri Hari for the upliftment of the Atma of my Dada. Vrindavan Bihalila Laki Jai.
As we have come to the end of this evening memorial service, Bhaiya, let us put our hands together. Let us give thanks to the Lord. Let us ask His blessings. Let us also ask of Him to consider not if in any way we have faltered, say anything wrong, fall short in the cost of puja, to toss behind us the cruels of the past, to allow us, the parents and children of the extended Hindu family, a pleasant and prosperous tomorrow. Prabhu, in these hymns, we ask your blessings. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukbhag Bhavet He Rama Purushottam Narahari Narayanam Keshavam Govinda Garudaladbhajam Gunanidhi Damodharam Madhavam Om Anadino Dhana Vishnu Sankachakra Gadadharam Apado Pundari Kaksha Sarva Preto Samudbhavaha Om Tat Sat Om Tat Sat Om Tat Sat Bhagavat Bhagavan Ki Jai. Bhaiya, before you leave to journey to your respective places of abode and residence, we have prepared for your coming this evening a very light refreshment. Please allow us the opportunity to provide you with the hospitality. Until we meet again tomorrow afternoon, Bhaiya, take care of yourself and each other. Jai Jai Sitaram.